All right, guys, let's get some color on our beginnings of a character here. So, in order to have color on these guys, what we have to do is we have to basically create a color to put on them. Think of it like you're gonna get paint and you're putting it on something. So you have to have paint to put on it. We're going to actually create a file on our hard drive that stores what the color is, and then Unity is going to go to that file and find out what the color is. And when it shows it to us here in the scene or the game tab, then it's going to reference that file to get the color for us. So down here, our project tab is actually showing us a snapshot of our hard drive right now. So this is where we're going to need to create this. I'm going to right click out here in the empty space. Again, you could go to create up here. My habit is to just hit create. And I'm going to create a material. So there you go. And I think I want to have my character be kind of a nice dark purple color. So I'm just going to name this material purple. Okay, so it's called purple. Since I have it selected here, I can actually see its attributes over here in the inspector. And the most important one that we're going to look at right here is this little white panel right here. That is our color picker. If we just click on that, it opens up our color picker. So the first thing I want to do is get to this ring around the outside and just slide this over to where we have sort of a purple here. And then I need to set how light or dark my color is. At the moment, this is dragged in the square in the middle all the way to the upper left corner, which means that my color, even though it's a purple, is so light that it's white. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of click over here towards the more actual purple color. And as long as I got my mouse button down, I can just drag this around. And I'm going to go for the farthest corner here. This up here is showing me what the new color is going to be right here. So that's my purple color. And you can see the color reflected in my here in the project tab on the purple file that's saved on the hard drive. So I'm going to close the color picker. And now to take this material, think of it like it's paint, to paint that onto my character, all I need to do is grab the material right out of the project tab, then drag it into the scene and set it on my character. Okay, so there he is. And I'm liking him. Okay, it's a beginning, right? I don't like the white eyeballs like this. They're kind of, I don't know, creepy somehow. So I think what I want to do is actually let's get some black pupils in there. So first thing I'm going to do is let's go to the right eye, and I'm gonna right click on here and create myself a new sphere. I think that's how I want to do this. So I have a sphere. I'm going to rename it to Pupil, right? And I'm going to, it's exactly the same size right now as the eye itself, and it's taking up exactly the same space as the eye itself, and I can't really see what's going on. So I'm going to just go over here to its Z position, and I'm just going to grab that and I'm going to pull that thing forward towards me. I can't really see what I'm doing here. So I've pulled it forward out of the character here. And so, yeah, let's resize this. Instead of a scale of 1, which means since it's childed to the eye, it's going to be the exact same size as the eye. Let's make it like, it should be small, like 0.1. 0.1, 0.1. Okay. So now we have our tiny little pupil, right? I don't know, maybe it's awful small. We'll get it moved back into the character in a second here. So I need to have a new color material to be able to make it black, because what I want is for this little circle to go back into the eye and give me a little black dot there. So I'm going to create a new material, and I'm going to call it black. And of course, now I'm going to go to the color picker over in the inspector, and I don't have to pick a particular color from the ring. I'm just going to slide it all the way to the darkest corner here, and I have black. Close that. I'm just going to drop that material right on the little dot, And then we'll pick the pupil over here and go to its transform and kind of back that into the eye a little bit. So it just kind of barely peeks out, right? Okay. So now I've got myself an eyeball. I don't actually want to go through all the exact same thing that I did here, creating a new game object, getting it positioned in the right place, coloring it again. So I think honestly the simplest thing to do is I'm gonna click on the left eye and I'm just gonna delete it. And then I'm going to go to my right eye, which is pretty much how I want. I'm going to duplicate that, and it, notice in the hierarchy here, it already comes with a pupil now, because when I duplicated the right eye, it had a pupil game object childed to it. So when I duplicate it, not only does the game object itself, but also all its child objects get duplicated with it. Okay, this is not another right eye. We want that to be the left eye. Good. And we want that to not be positioned at 0.18. We want that to be positioned at minus 0.18. Okay, those beady little eyes are kind of creepy. What if we change the scale a little bit? Let's just make those a little bigger and see what that looks like. Instead of 0.1, let's make that 0.2. And see what happens there. Do I like that better? Yeah, I think I do. Okay, so I'm just gonna scale the other pupil as well. Okay, I like that a little better. Let's make a nose. So I'm going to come back over here to I'm going to select the player object and right click and grab another 3D object. I'm going to make a sphere here. So again, my sphere is occupying the exact same space as the character. So I'm going to pull it forward just a little bit so I can see what I'm working with here. That's my nose. So let's resize this nose. Let's go for X side to side. Let's go 0.5 again. I think that's probably fine. And I want it to be a little bit squashed in the up and down. So I'm not going to make it 0.5. Let's make it like, I don't know, 0.3. And that's going to give us sort of this wider looking nose shape right there. And then we can kind of just like, we're not looking for specific spots. I don't know. That's probably fine. Okay. So, nose is looking fairly good. Let's see how long it is. I haven't adjusted the Z number over here for the scale of the nose, so because I'm not sure how far it's actually sticking out. So let's have a look here at the side. That looks kind of wonky. In fact, I can see right now my pupils look kind of wonky too. I don't want those to be sitting out in front of the eyeballs. Let's actually take that and back it into the eyeball just a little bit. That's probably fine. Okay, so that ended up with a Z of 0.474. I'm just going to copy that, and then I'm going to go to the other pupil, and I'm going to paste that number right back in there, and now we have identical pupil placement. Okay, so that looks good. The nose is pretty long. I'm not sure I like a giant honker on the guy like that. So let's make it a little bit smaller. That's no good, too small. So that's probably fine, just about right there. So I'm gonna sneak back out in front of him here and have ourselves a look. Okay, he's pretty cool. So the nose ought to be colored. I don't like that it's white also. So let's just grab our same purple color and drop that right on the nose. And I don't like that at all. So you can kind of tell that there's something there, but it it really kind of disappears into him, especially, you know, if we back up like this, you can't tell that there's really anything there. It's just eyeballs on a purple. So let's actually make a new color here. So third color now, let's create a material. And let's make it like a pink, I guess. So I'm gonna call this pink nose color. And then we'll go up here and pick our color. So let's get in something like I don't know. That's probably a nice pink right there. So let's just take that and drop it on the nose. And actually don't like that very much either. Let's adjust that. So you can, now that I've dropped the pink nose color onto the pink nose, I can go back to the material itself and bring up the color picker again and actually mess with the color in the color picker and watch it change on my character since the character already has that color over here. So I can just kind of like move. Oh, I like that just fine. Just that darker color there. I wonder if we can swing it. Let's go a little more towards the orange. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I buy that. So yes, you can adjust your color in the color picker and see in the scene view how it's changing. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's see. We got our character looking pretty good. I think what I'm gonna do now, he's looking fine, but there's nothing else in the entire world here with him. So let's start to put a world there for him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse the entire list of all the child game objects on the player, and let's create a new game object that is a 3D plane. Okay, and it's kind of in a weird place. It's out in front of us apparently. So let's reset its position. Just going to reset plane's position. Okay, now we've got kind of an interesting thing here. Look at that. It's our character's buried halfway through it. That's because the position of all these 3D game objects is always measured from the center of the object. So my player, the center of the player object is positioned at 0, 0, 0, the absolute center of the entire game universe. And the plane is now also positioned at 0, 0, 0, the exact center of the universe. I think it makes more sense to have the plane be at 0, 0, 0. The floor itself should be at 0, 0, 0. That's what 0 is going to be, is the floor. And then our character should stand up a little bit on top of that. So I'm just going to grab the character and pull him up a little bit until it looks like he's kind of sitting right on top there. That's probably fine. So yeah, something like that. Okay. Now, what I want you to notice about this is if we look over here at the position, we've pulled his Y position up by almost exactly 1. That's because the units of measurement that Unity uses are supposed to be something like a meter here. So if we've got this character and this is as tall as like a normal person, then he's basically something like 2 meters tall. That's the kind of size that we're talking about. And halfway up would be 1 meter up from the bottom, right? So if our if we want his bottom, his feet or whatever to touch the floor, then we have to pull him up 1 meter to get the meter that's below the bottom half of him to get up on top of it. So the fact that we're almost exactly at 1 here probably means we're not actually touching the floor, and you can kind of see the shadow there. If we sneak in here, then you can see he's not actually touching it. So I'm just going to grab the player, and I'm going to type in a 0 right here. Not 0, a 1. Okay, and that should give us exactly a super, yeah, it's just barely touching it. Okay, cool. So we now have our character, and he's got some appropriate color, and he's starting to have something to stand on. Guys, we're making a game. All right, so make sure that you've done all of what I just did, and yes, onward and upward. Let's go to the next video.